Hi, everybody.
All right, we're back. What do we call this video? I think it's a 30-day case study of a top performer.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Welcome. My name is Steve Houston. This is Angela
Angela.
Jara. I don't get her on the channel very often because she's out running appointments and helping our agents with their case strategies and just kind of mentoring and coaching a lot of the agents to success. So, as you know, on this channel, we talk about the facts. We provide documentation, third-party documentation. It's better than conversation. And then we allow you to decide what's best for you. So I appreciate you being on the channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that bell down below where we're standing here, and then certainly go add some comments. We would love it. And go, hey, listen, share the video out. It helps other agents find us and maybe stay in this great industry and succeed. And for that, we thank you. All right, Angela, we talked about in the first video, we talked about leads and dials, and now we're going to kind of move into part 3, which is we want to know what that resulted. So in the last video, just kind of catch people up, you had roughly bought about 150 leads, right?
Yeah.
Spent about $2,600 on those leads.
Yes.
You worked all different kind
Types
of
of
leads. You worked the fresh leads, or what'd you say, preferred? What'd you say the leads were?
Like those tier 1.
Tier 1
Whatever your
leads, you work tier 2
lead
leads, you work tier 3 leads. Tier 3 leads are 10 months or older at least. I've been sold 2 or 3 times to another agent inside of our IMO. Mm-hmm. We discussed what the difference between the IMO that's in the lead selling business and the IMO that's in the insurance selling business. Big difference, because that way you can control the lead gets removed from the system once it's been sold a product. So even though these people hadn't bought a product leads from our IMO, they had been sold a couple of times. So the older the lead is, the more challenging it is. We talked about that. And then we talked about the dials. I think you said you made over almost 600 dials.
Yep.
And what we mean by dials, that means you could potentially be dialing the same lead multiple times, right?
So I dial a lead. I don't make any markings on the lead. I never know how many times I've dialed the lead. So I could have gotten a lead on a Monday, and by the time Friday comes, I could have dialed that phone number, 10 times by the time we get to the end of the
So let me ask you a question. Just going to go back to that, because I didn't get a chance to ask that in the last video, because this is something people really get hung up on this. Do you make detailed notes on the lead when you're calling them? I talked to Bob. He was mad at me. He's having a kid or whatever. What do you do?
No.
No.
I don't make any notes on the lead. In fact, if you went and saw my leads right now, they look as clean and fresh as the first day they were printed.
Right.
And I think that that's really important, because when I look at a lead, when I dial a lead on a Monday, I dial the lead, nobody answers the phone, nothing happens. And I dial the lead on Tuesday, and somebody answers the phone and says, "Oh, he's not home right now, and he's the one that handles that. You have to call back." I still don't make any markings on the lead. I put it back into my stack. I flip it over, because now I've dialed it. Flip it over. Didn't book an appointment. Dial the next lead. When I get to that lead on Wednesday, I don't want any preconceived. I don't want to know the history. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? Most people, you have way more invested in this phone call than the person that you're dialing. So I have dialed people that were in poopy moods, and they said, I'm too busy right now for this phone call, and they hang up the phone. I still don't make any marking.
You don't buy there too poopy.
In a poopy mood.
Bad mood. Don't No.
No.
But what happens if they yell at you and say, "Never call me again"?
Then I draw a line through the lead and I stick it in a dead folder. I still don't throw it away. I don't know why I don't throw them away. I have this. I still believe that someday.
But that's not always the case, because I've known before you just put it back in the stack.
Yes. Now I have had some people that have said, they've got. I can hear that they're doing life. They're at the grocery store. They've got kids. I mean, I talked to women that the kids were screaming. I could have sworn I heard something burning. The TV's at Mach 4, and they're trying to do way too many things. And they'll say, I don't want to deal with this. Click. I still don't make any markings on that page. I still keep it as a live lead. I flip it over, and I have gone back and called. In fact, in June, I ended up booking an appointment with a woman and her husband. She had yelled at me last month. Tells you how long I've been dialing this lead. She had yelled at me, and for some reason I could just tell that she was just having a bad day. And I just ignored. I waited about a week, and when I called her back, she had zero recollection, or at least was too polite to act like she had any recollection of the phone conversation that we had had. So you have to remember that, like I said, you have way more invested in these phone calls than the person that you're calling. I take calls all the time. I'm at the grocery store. I'm at Macy's. I'm getting my nails done. I'm running appointments. I'm dealing with life. I got to go to the post office. I got to go do this. I got to go to do the taxes. Especially in this age of technology, people are in motion. So you cannot, they didn't send the letter off and then sit and stare at the phone.
You know, some people think
I know that insurance person is going to call any minute now. They didn't. They mailed it, and half the time they can't even remember filling it out. So you have to get rid of, you have to stop having this emotional attachment to this name on this piece of paper. Flip it over, dial it again. Flip it over, dial it again. Flip it over, dial it again.
And also understand, it's not, when they do yell at you, hang up, they're frustrated, it's not personal. They're just busy, and you call them at a bad time. And you paid money for that lead. So, you know, put it back in a stack and dial it again in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I had a woman, I don't know why I can't get this one out of my head, but I had a woman that I had called, and she had a newborn baby, and her husband was the one that sent the letter back in, and he was the one that handled all the mortgage and all the bills, and she had a brand new baby, and she was nursing, and I had double dialed her. So I had dialed the lead, and then I had hung up and dialed the phone number again, and she was nursing. And she said, you're going to have to call back and talk to my husband, because right now I'm nursing this kid. And she hung up the phone on me. And when I called back and talked to the husband, we had a great conversation. I ended up meeting with both of them, and she and I had a good laugh about it. So a lot of times you'll have that stuff happen too. So that's that.
Okay, so we talked about leads and dials, and we kind of wrapped up the last video. So let's kind of move into phase 2, or video number 2, which is the appointments.
Yes.
How many appointments did you so you dialed about 500 plus times,
yeah.
close to 600.
Yeah.
How many appointments did you set?
So I booked, we might be off by 1 or 2, plus or minus, but ran 49 appointments that I can without question verify 49. So 150 leads, like 600 dials, 49 appointments, and in relation to leads purchased and appointments run, I'll also say this. Sometimes you're going to hit an area, and if you don't have a little, you know, if you don't have a little bit of kind of that bootstrap mentality, this is where you will potentially either push in or push out of this business, or any business, or any industry, or any job, or life. That's my personal opinion. So there was one particular county that we had bought leads in, and we had invested pretty heavily in them. And I ran a lot of appointments out there. I only wrote one family. I wrote 2 applications, 1 couple. That was it. And I spent a lot of time driving out there, like numerous days. You know, it's like 2 hours out there, 2 hours back. So I would try.
Did you quit? Did you call your mentor and coach and tell them that this business isn't working out? It's not for me. No, why not?
Because I know what's on the other side. Because I know that I know that I'm not going to go to the gym tonight and wake up tomorrow morning and be a size 6. I absolutely know that. But I know that if I keep going to the gym, I might get close to a size 6. Might not actually.
Moving on. Yeah. The point is, success is on the other. Success is on the other side of failure. And most people quit 3 feet from gold. It's a good book about that, actually. But the point is that you've got to be willing to. People quit. Quitters quit, and that's unfortunate because I believe that if you learn, I believe that anybody can learn the skills necessary to make at least 6 figures here a year. Making multiple 6 figures, maybe that's a different cat, different day, different skill set. I don't know. But most people quit because there's this mentality going around that, if I knock on that door 2 or 3 times, it doesn't open up. Well, it's not for me. It's not true. Successful people keep beating on the door until the door opens for them because it's not an option. We have too many options. That's the problem. Is that we can go here, go there, let's try that one, and you do that all your life until never really finding anything because you never stick with anything long enough for it to work.
And along that same lines. I would have a really hard time letting somebody that I sat in front of for a half an hour or an hour that said no to me, or they've changed their mind, or it's too much money, or it's just not right, or it's not a good fit, or whatever it is, or call me in a month. I would have a really hard time staking our family's finances and success, and I know that Steve has the same feeling as well. On that one particular person. I'm not letting that one person dictate our our life or our financial future. It's going to take a whole lot more than this guy to determine whether or not this is the right industry. And I know that certain areas I'm not going to have as much success, and other areas I'm going to have twice as much success. I mean, there are certain areas around here where if a lead comes in, it's just, you can almost be assured of at least booking an appointment.
Yeah, like anything, life will give you what you're willing to accept.
Yeah.
And for Angela and I, we will succeed in this business if we have to knock every single door down necessary, because we know, as Angela said, what's on the other side. We've made good money in this industry, and the lead sales opportunity, being with an IMO that has a lead program, is the key that opens the door, in my opinion, because you're no longer cold calling or beating up your friends, family, and neighbors. But you have to learn how to work those leads. You have to learn the right phone script. You have to learn tone and tempo on the phone. You have to learn, how to present yourself not as a telemarketer, but more as a board banker trying to, booking appointments for her boss or something. You have to get. You have to learn the process, and it takes time. And over time, you will get better. You have to be willing to be bad before you're good. Period. That's how we learn. You have to be willing to go out there in the field, run some appointments, and embarrass yourself. That's how we learn. And many people aren't willing to do that, which is why they'll always be working for somebody else. It's unfortunate because it's a great industry and we need good people in this business. So let's transition. So you had 49 appointments. Are those appointments that you went on, you set with 49 people?
No, I would say that number was probably closer to 40, maybe 42, because I get porched. I get people that don't answer the phone. I mean, don't answer the door. I get people that
after driving 2 hours. Tell us about the Thursday you had when I was in Ohio on business. You crisscrossed probably 300-400 miles in one day. And it didn't. I can't remember if it ended up good or not good. Did you run any sales that day, or it just was all running around and nothing?
Just all.
No results.
So I
make a strong man cry, wouldn't it?
It would. It would. So I had booked an appointment out in a particular area, and I'm trying to remember who that first appointment was with, but it was 2 hours away, and we had kind of we had scheduled it, and then we had rescheduled it, and somehow we ended up at like 11 o'clock in the morning, or no, it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which meant that I had to leave here at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I go to this appointment at 11 o'clock, and for the life of me, I couldn't seem to book anything else out there for that particular day. So it's 2 hours. I don't know what direction it is. Is it north of here?
North of here,
okay,
yes.
So it's 2 hours north. So I get out there, and then I thought, well, when I finish the appointment, I'll just dial through and see if I can't see anybody else out here. Well, I get out there, dial through a bunch of leads, and I couldn't get anybody else on the phone except for I started dialing through all of my leads, which is another tip. You should always have your lead file with you.
In the car.
Because you never know when you are going to have 10 minutes or an hour to sit in the car, sit and make your dials. So I managed to get a hold of this one woman, this one particular lead that I had been calling quite a bit, and they were, from where I was, they were another 2 hours and 15 minutes east.
Mm-hmm.
East. So I left where I was, and I drove 2 hours east to go and meet with her and her husband. And it was kind of one of those really like all the right dynamics type lead. And I get out there, and by now it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and she's standing in the driveway, and she says, my husband's changed his mind, and he doesn't want to.
Wouldn't let you in the door.
She says, I said, well, I'm here. Do you not want? I have the rates. Does he not want to just at least take a look? See, no, doesn't want to do that. So she and I stood out in her driveway and chatted for a little bit, because it had finally cooled down. It had been like 103 that day, and I needed to stand up and be out of the car for a minute. So we stood and chatted. She's a very sweet woman, but there was no way I was getting in this house. I can tell you that. No, just no way. So then from there, I had to come back to the county that we live in, because I had an appointment here. At that point it must have been about 4 o'clock, because I had an appointment at 5:15 to meet with another couple. So I went to that appointment, they porched me. They were not home. Then I had to drive an hour and 45 minutes to south of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
South of us for an appointment that I had booked the day before, and got out there, met with them, and it was just a really not a great situation. And so by the time I left there, it was about 10:15, I think, at night, and I drove 2 hours back home and walked in the door, and
it was after 1 o'clock, I think, when you go home.
Yeah,
very close to 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock in the morning.
It was a long day.
So did we write anything that day?
No.
So how many? So 4 appointments, no sales.
Not a thing.
This is why this is what people. That's why I wanted to do this video, because I wanted you to see the results of just continuing to push against the door. It will open. All right. So that's exactly why I wanted to do this video, is because people have this perception that, you're going to win every day, or you're going to go out in the field and you're going to write business every day. Even the top producers don't do that. I mean, even when I'm out in the field, I've gone on streaks where I've ran 3 or 4 appointments and got nothing out of it. But I wake up tomorrow and it's a different day. It's the same thing with the dials. I mean, I know you've had, and we didn't talk about this on the dial section, but I know there's days when you have. I mean, it was just, I think it was yesterday. I mean, for about 1 or 2 hours, I was in my office laughing because, conversation after conversation after conversation, she was getting pushback on every single. I mean, it was like unheard of. We never had a dial day or dial time quite like that, and it was just bad.
Yeah.
So she put the phone down, went and made lunch. Same way with this, and I talked to a lot of agents where they'll run 4 or 5, 6 appointments and close nothing, and they go. I encourage them to go back out there, do it again. And one perfect example, I think the guy was a couple of years ago now, went out, ran 7 or 8 appointments, and was ready to quit. And I said, look, trust and believe in the system. Then you can't beat the numbers, and numbers can't beat you. He went out on the next 3 or 4 appointments, and wrote 12,000 APV. And I asked him, are you still thinking about the 4 or 5 sales you didn't make? And he said, no. And I know you've had days like that where, you'll make it up, but you can't beat the numbers. The numbers are the numbers.
Yeah, because the day after that particularly funky Thursday, I went out, drove an hour and 10 minutes, an hour, to a woman's home, sat down with her. We had a phenomenal conversation, and she wrote 2 policies, which was $3,000 worth of premium very next day.
Yeah.
More than made up for having a rough day.
So again, in trying to recap, 100 and some odd leads, spent $2,600. You had 49 appointments. You probably saw 40 people thereabouts. So maybe that's a 50 to 60% closing ratio. So let's talk about the applications. So you made 49 appointments. You saw about 40. The whole video is based on this right here. So what did it result in income? Now you had some cancellations, right? People changed their mind.
And I have some appointments that have spilled over into the next month. So, but again, for the ease of numbers, so wrote 20 applications, and $27,000 worth of premium.
APV, how much?
27,000.
27,000 in annual premium. So just give us a rough estimate what that means in terms of income.
About 20,000 for us.
Okay, so you spent. It's a good month.
Yeah, if you really break it down, that means that on a Monday through Friday work week, because I run some appointments on Saturdays. I ran appointments on the Saturday when Steve was out of town. But I don't run a lot of appointments on Saturdays. So if you were to take a Monday through Friday work week, it means I wrote an app a day.
Yeah.
20 days.
Yeah, that's right. So let's back that up for a second. You write, how many applications you write? 20. So that's 5 a week.
Yeah.
And our goal has always been 5 a week.
5 a week.
Again, sometimes we don't make 5 a week. We'll do 3 and do 7 next. But the goal is to write 5 a week, which is 20 apps a month, and the annual APV nationwide is $1,080 or $85 a month. Again, go back to my watch the video Law of Large Numbers. I'll put it up here because this, again, you'll find out that even the top producers fall in lockstep with that. So you wrote 20 apps. The average APV nationwide is $1,080. So 20 times $1,000 is $20,000. You were above that at $27,000, right? And you had some cancellations. You had some people change their mind later, whatever. But the end result was that what you issued and got paid on commission-wise, right around $20,000 for the month. So which is about $5,000 a week. Which is, again, going back to the the law of large numbers, $1,000 per application is about right. In California, where we're at, slightly above that because our home values are a bit higher. So that's really a case strategy. Now, does that mean everybody's going to do that? No, but Angela's pretty good, but she hasn't been in the business that long.
No.
I mean, a couple of years?
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half, two, whatever. She was a realtor before that.
And I'll also say this. I didn't run, we ran more consistently and harder than on our own personal production this month in June than we probably ever have. More just consistently every single day trying to run appointments. But I will say this. We didn't I still had like energy in reserve.
Well, there were days you weren't out.
Yeah.
We weren't out every day.
No, I could have easily, if we had been making, if our lives had depended on it, we could have run double what we did.
Well, yeah, and we also have agents that we also try to help in the field every day.
Right. So that
we don't talk to them every day, but we are. Yeah, I mean, that's I think the beauty of this whole conversation, this whole video is that you're able to do all of that while still doing case strategies for our agents on our team. Helping them put their cases together, doing coaching, phone script training, all that stuff. You still are able to maintain, what really is average production. 5 apps a week is about average production for most full-time people. And you still, like I said, you had work-life freedom because you weren't out every day.
I wasn't out every day.
You took the weekends off in most cases. I mean, you had a couple appointments on the weekend.
And I still have, this is kind of what always sometimes gets me. I still have family obligations. I still have my responsibilities here at home that balance our life. And, we have had some family illnesses and some family, minor crises that have gone on throughout the course of July. So we have all that same, crap, if you will, and still have to earn a living. I mean, I can't, we couldn't take 3 weeks off and just, hide. You have to balance all of those things.
Right. And we had again, going back to life will only get you what you're willing to accept. We were not going to accept missing the trip, and that kind of motivated us. And that's a good point, and probably a good way to end the video is that one of the things that, and again, we've been doing this for a long time, but we've never bought that many leads probably in such a short period of time. Right. So we increased our lead. Again, that's what I talk about in those videos. And so hopefully, if you're a brand new subscriber, one thing I'm going to talk about is once you learn a few certain skill sets, like how to get some leads and how to book appointments, and then how to do an in-home presentation. If you get those 3 things down, the way you scale your income, nothing else changes, right? I mean, it's still the same lead. It's still the same phone appointment. You'll use the same exact in-home presentation. So if you get those 3 things down, then if you want to make like we did, we knew that if we increased our activity to a certain level, the trip's a no-brainer. Right. Because we knew how to get leads. We knew Angela knows how to use the phone. She's very good at booking appointments, and we have a proven in-home presentation we use. So those things we knew, right? So the point is that with knowing those 3 things, we knew that we bought more leads, made more dials, booked more appointments, saw more people, we would win the trip. Right. And as a result of that, we did win the trip, right? Yeah. Otherwise, this video is already.
Otherwise, all this gym talk is going to be for nothing.
Yeah, and through that, she came to me and goes, you know what? I'm not stopping. That's the power of it all, right there. Is that we tested our own system that we've been training, we've been talking about. I've been talking about in these videos, and we've been talking to our team about it. Is if you'll just trust us and believe in a system and go work that system and be willing to be bad before you're good. Go out there and make mistakes, get hung up on, get objections on the phone, mess up in the house. If you're with the right coach and mentor that you can call, which I think is huge, aside from the IMO, which provides a lot of tremendous support and training, you need to have somebody that's kind of hands-on that you can call or text when you're in the home or on the phone, in the home, either one, and you can say, here's what I'm getting, how do I help, how do I handle this? That's why we got a video out there called it's more than just a sign-up thing. It is more than just a sign-up thing because the IMOs, they're dealing with, regardless of what IMO you sign up with, they're dealing with thousands and thousands of agents. They're never going to be able to provide you the training that someone can provide you that's hands-on, day-to-day, that's working with a handful of agents, not a few thousand agents. That's the first point I want to make. And the second thing is that make sure that again, it's not just a sign up thing. Make sure you're getting signed up by somebody that knows how to put their name on an application.
Yeah.
Not just recruiting like it's a lottery. There's a lot of people out there that recruit. That's the whole message of the IMO. They'd rather have you recruit than actually produce. It works in their business plan because when you leave those people behind that you recruited. They become now the IMO's people, not your people. So it's a good way to build an organization or a company. But be with somebody that focuses on production and can do the production and leads in the front, not somebody that feels like I'm going to recruit the next person, winning the lottery, right? I'm going to make millions of that one person, because anybody that has that mentality, in my opinion, shouldn't be in a team building business. So, but through that process, we learned that it's true. If I want to scale my income, I do the
Right.
same phone script, I buy the same lead, I do the same in-home presentation. I just got to see more people. That's the only thing.
More of it.
So if you want to do less than Angela did or more than what Angela did, you know the equation. So if you don't need to make $20,000 a month and you can do half the activity, and make 10, that's a very, very. Would you consider that a very part-time effort? Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so you're writing 2 or 3 apps a week, not 5.
Right.
Right. If you want to make $5,000 a month, imagine you can do that here if you get good at those 3 things, which is getting leads, booking appointments, get very good on the phone. Any tips on the phone? Did you have already shared?
Do more of it. The
Be
biggest
relentless.
thing that I see, the biggest thing that I see is people, they buy 5 leads and they sit down on Monday and dial those 5 leads, and then they figure they'll come back and dial them next Monday. I dial leads every single day. I dial people, not usually more than once a day. Sometimes, sometimes I'll dial in the morning and then, dial again in the evening. Maybe they're at work. But I dial them every day. I don't.
Here's a question for you.
Wait a week. That's my only tip.
I get this all the time. When's a good day to call?
Every day.
Yeah. If you're shooting for 10 appointments a week, remember you can scale your income. You know how to do that by my Law of Large Numbers video and a couple of other ones out there. Figure out what you need to make. I just put that one out, the 2 Paths of Success with a Star Wars character on it. Figure out what you need to make and figure out how many appointments you'll need in order to make that kind of money. And then until you get that number of appointments, you dial every day.
Every day. Because it doesn't matter. Somebody will answer a phone. But you have to have the leads. You have to pick up the phone and actually dial them. And there was something else you just said that I wanted to add to, but it must not have been very important.
I said something she actually
I wanted to comment on.
Wanted to comment on. That's pretty good. It's not coming?
Stop trying to figure out the lead. Stop trying to figure out, oh, well, this person is 40, so I'm not going to even bother calling during the day. I'll just wait and call later on tonight. Just pick up the phone and dial the lead. Stop trying to stop angling. We were talking about a friend of ours in a totally unrelated scenario, and I said to Steve, is this particular couple looking for a reason to say yes, or are they really just looking for a reason to say no? And sometimes I think that people tend to treat the leads the same way. They're looking for an excuse not to dial it. Just pick up the phone and dial it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of gems on this video. Probably shouldn't have shared so many gems.
No.
But anyway, the one thing that she just said that I think is huge is that we get this all the time with people that are also on our team, is they want to make 2 or 3, or they have to make $2,000 or $3,000 a week, and they'll buy 20 leads. It's not going to happen. I mean, you have to understand the ratios. If you're working brand new tier 1 leads, which most people call that an A lead, your ratios will be better in terms of how many leads you need to have to set a certain number of appointments. You're not going to buy 10 leads and set 10 appointments at all. And then especially if you're working the tier 3 leads, have been there for a year. You want to sell 10 appointments, you might need a couple hundred of those leads to set 10 appointments per week. So again, it goes back to my BPAD videos. You need to have, the more raw materials you have, the better chance you're giving yourself of setting the number of appointments that you need to have for that week. As Angela said earlier, she still has some of those leads that she bought during this month that will pay off next month that didn't happen this month. So that's why you need to be on a consistent lead buying program with where you're spending X amount of dollars per week every week. So you constantly are building up your raw materials, so that when you sit down, you always have, probably 50, 100, 200 leads that you've never got a hold of, or you did, but you didn't book an appointment. So you're constantly calling through leads. And I know you told me the other day you had one you've been calling for 6 months, and bam, that just the right time you booked it. I think it was up in Placerville. But so I mean, that's why you need to have more. Again, I know when you're starting out, you have a limited budget, and that's great. And I mean, most everybody is that way. But understand in business, we have to advertise in good times and bad. Every week, we stop advertising, we turn that water spigot off, and everything stops. So you got to figure out what you can afford to spend. Maybe work friends, family, and neighbor for warm market sales, so you can build a little bit of cash flow to buy leads. But when you get on there, buy them. And every time you get a commission, don't spend your seed. If you make a $2,000 commission, you can't spend $2,000 on your bills. You're going to have to put away 10% for more leads, because if you don't, you won't make $2,000 next week, right?
Well, yeah, and Steve said something. We were actually reviewing our own life insurance policies the other day, and Steve was talking about if he should pass, and we obviously have a mortgage and all those kinds of good things, and what my plans should be. And he looked at me and he said you never spend the seed, and I translated that into you never eat your seed. You always have to keep part of that so that you can. And so I equated it to, like, being an apple farmer. You can eat an apple, but you always hold the seeds back, because you have to be able to plant more trees so you can grow more apples, so you can plant more trees so you can grow more apples. And if you spend every nickel that you have, then you may as well just set fire to your apple farm, because now you have nothing. Now you have no way to start over, and that's where people get frustrated. And you've got to just have a little bit of vision. You can't base it, like Steve said, you can't base the fact that you bought this one lead and you booked this one appointment and you went out and wrote this one sale, or you didn't, on the whole. You can't base your whole business on that one small string of events. So that's it for me.
Hey, listen, I'm glad you came to the video today, because I've been trying to get you to come on a video for a long, long time. And I got to believe I get excited. I start talking fast. But I think we covered a lot of information that most people would never tell you. And it's really, really valuable. So I would certainly bookmark these videos, because I think there's a lot of gems in here. If you really watch them several times, maybe take some notes, it can really give you the mindset necessary to have a business mind, and understand that if you allow yourself to learn some, stay in the game long enough, have a big desire to succeed, know what you're fighting for, which is what most people call the why are you in this business, because it does get tough. Look, on that Thursday Angela was talking about, most people would have quit, and that would be a shame, because she'd have quit mid-month and not had earned $20,000 at the end of the month, and now we're not even thinking about those that day or those missed appointments. Doesn't matter. You move on. So it's been great to have you here. I look forward to doing some more. I hope you appreciate the video and the case strategy from a top producer. Do me a favor again, like I said, share the video out to other people, because I think this is valuable to a lot of people, regardless of who they're working with or for, to learn some of these nuggets. And do me a favor, make some comments. I look forward to a lot of comments. Make some comments on there. Maybe we'll get Angela to answer them as well on the video. And then hit that little bell button down below, because that gives you instant notifications when these videos are uploaded. And hit the subscribe button. Mash the subscribe button.
Thanks, guys.
And remember, it's I hate to date the video, but it's 4th of July. So
happy 4th of July. Have a safe and happy 4th of July.
And we live in a free country, and we're able to start our own businesses and have personal liberty, work-life balance because of this country. So we want to say thank you and be safe, like Angela said. And
we're going to be at the beach.
We're going to be, we're going to, where are we going?
Pismo.
Pismo Beach. All right. Bye-bye. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Bye.
And thank you for being part of the channel. Bye-bye. Good. Don't forget to press the subscribe button below. Hit the bell that gets you instant notifications, Angela. Angela never watches our own videos.
I haven't figured out the bell.
Press the bell, hit the subscribe button, and make some comments. Okay. Minnie Penny.
Minnie, you want to go for a ride in the car? Okay, we will.
All right, wait.
Great way to start the video.
Well, yeah, she come into the studio prepared to work.
And I'll just cough on the video next time.
You can't be slide over. You can't be taking up the whole video. And I don't want to stand that close to you anyhow.
Knock it off, or you can do these by yourself.
How's my hat look? Okay. Or should I wear this hat or should I wear a baseball cap? Or do you want my? I can't wear that one because it's in the truck. Minnie, you gotta look at the video, Minnie. I say it's pretty, baby. There's a video over here. All right, ready? You know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.